Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm so excited to start season 6 of the podcast. Once again, this pod is generously sponsored by Central Michigan University's Center for Learning Through Games and Simulations, and they have some awesome stuff ahead. 500-Year-Old Vampire, a cooperative role-playing game, will launch in the coming months. And I myself will be teaching a class in their Applied Game Design Certificate program starting on March 6th. So come take a class with yours truly. If you want to support this show, please consider supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/beyondsolitaire. My ultimate goal is to get enough support to quit teaching summer school and devote my entire summer break to board game work. For now, though, let's get on with the show. Hey, gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here in the pod this week with a special guest, Julián Pombo, and he's the designer of Pampero and a developer of several Vitala Certa games you might be familiar with. How you doing, Julián?
Hello, how are you?
I'm very happy to have you on. I know this is early for you. This is 8 a.m. EST.
No, it's 10 a.m. for me, so no worries.
So I know that you are in the throes of a game design. So are you sleeping at all right now anyway?
Well, yes, I am sleeping now because at this point we are working to finish the every rulebook in the Pampero Kickstarter because we have some stretch goals and a couple of expansions, and we are doing the all the corrections on those rules, which I can only answer um, questions about the ruling, not the grammatics or grammar and that kind of stuff. So we are doing that, and I can sleep because I don't think about that. Other people think about that.
Perfect. Sounds like a good deal to me. So tell us about Pampero. That's the game that was recently on Kickstarter for you. It should be available for late pledge at the time this podcast runs.
Yes, we are. Well, that is what we are doing now, testing that the Kickstarter late pledge thing. That I don't know how that works because it's my first experience with that. You push the buttons and the buttons do the things that we want them to do. So yes, the late pledge will start in um, in January, someday in January. I don't know.
So tell us about Pampero just as a game.
Well, Pampero is a game about the wind program here in Uruguay, where I live, and it took Uruguay. Well, it still is a ongoing process in some parts. We changed from fossil fuels, imported energy generation, to a wind program, building wind farms all over the country for the last 20 years. We have stopped building wind farms 5 years ago, but now we are improving the grid and making some improvements on the wiring because that is something that is going on around the world, that the old infrastructure doesn't work right with the new technology. And I try to show that in the game also with one of the expansions. The the game took me over 2 years of work and development, and it was it's based all in real stuff, and I try to make that real stuff into the game, and I'm very happy and very proud of the all the pieces, how all the pieces got together. That is my game, Pampero.
So what made you decide to design a game about wind farming?
Well, I like to ride my bike on the roads here, and I was having the idea of a mechanic, and I like to go on the bike, and while I'm on biking, I listen to music and I go singing and thinking about many stuff in my life, and I try to take a look at the horizon to see where I'm going, and I try to look a few meters ahead of the front wheel to avoid, well, an accident. So in this looking up and looking down, I see on the horizon, hey, look, those are the wind farms. So because I wanted to make a game about my country, And the most important things happening here are, well, that the wind farming, and then obviously everything that is rural related, cows and sheep and horses, that kind of thing. But we have like a million of those games. So, oh, I can do that. This is unique. We are uh, number three, number two in the world in wind farm energy used by the country. Right now, we are at 95% of renewable energy used here. So, what can I do? This, of course, this. So let's start researching. And well, that is how I get. Uh, I get to decide what the theme of the game was going to be. That happened in a couple of days when I got the mechanics and the theme of the game.
What kind of research went into Pampero? It seems like one of those things where you grow up seeing wind farms and all of that every day because it's been going on for 20 years. But then actually learning about it might be different. So, what kinds of sources did you go to? Like, did you find anything that surprised you as you went and did the research for the game?
Well, I'm a little, I'm a big grown man already, so I didn't grow watching the all the stuff happening. But I found the first thing I found it was I believe in the coincidence in your life when some things get together that doesn't seem likely to get together. I pay attention to those signs. Okay, so in the same day, in the same couple of days, I found myself with the mechanics that I want to. Oh, I would like to make a game with these mechanics. I'm riding my bike and I'm seeing the wind farms. I got home and I found a magazine about the wind farming in Uruguay. So I say, well, all these signs, well, let's go with this. Pay attention to this, Julian. This can be something. And then you start researching. There is a lot of information here on the internet because it was a big deal. People around the world send students here because this is a practical experience here in Uruguay. It's not theoretic. Um, Now all over the world we have gigantic wind farms and such, but at those point that this was like a very important and first kind of thing, like, okay, here you can see this actually working. uh, okay, and well, that was and when you start researching, you start to look for something that you didn't know, like you don't even imagine, like, okay, these things make a lot of noise, so they turn it off or at some point so people can sleep and don't go crazy. They kill birds, something that worries a lot of people, so they have to paint the blades in different colors for the birds to avoid them, and a lot of stuff, a lot of how this works. And it's very different, and sometimes you find those things and you say, of course this is a game because this look like a game. This kind of stuff that they do is like they play in some games where, oh, if I do this you will get a bonus. Okay, but if you do this other stuff, that will be bad for you. So yeah, it's that kind of things was very interesting to know.
So I have played Pampero and I enjoyed it very much, by the way, which is why I'm loving talking to you about this right now. But in the game, you have wind farms and electrical towers, and you're trying to fulfill contracts. But I don't remember anything in the game about like different colored blades in the windmill or like turning the stuff off at night. What did you have things that you wanted to put in the game that just didn't work because there was just so much to know?
Well, the thing is, that thing is reflected in some part of the game that you don't have you cannot write those things in the rule book, like, okay, this is happened because of this. um, when you see in your grid, you can see some connections between your transformers that you have to
Yeah.
pay in energy. Okay, well, those things reflect that. Okay, like, okay, you have to turn off your wind farms, okay, because of these things happening, okay, the noise. Okay, so those penalties reflect that stuff. Okay, we and also you cannot do art for that. Okay, because it doesn't help when you see those kind of things, and it's much more expensive. So there is a lot of stuff that it's shown in the game, but if you don't get to research, you don't know what exactly they are. But if you ask me, I can tell you, or maybe I can post a document on the BCC. There is already one, and that stuff is there. And in the nature expansion, okay, we have a program here in Uruguay from the government that is called Uruguay Natural. That is something to show the world that we are extremely green. So at least we are trying. Some people is trying, not everybody. And I try to make to show that if you take care of the environment around your wind farms, okay, the government will reward you with tax exemptions and that kind of stuff. That comes in the expansion. Um, but the thing is that at the start of the game, at the start of development, uh, there were only like two players that liked that. One was Vital and the other was me, because we know what that means. Okay, this means take care of your of the environment, and it didn't actually was relevant at that moment for the outcome of the game. And so I decided, okay, let's do this. I know that people is interested about this. I'm interested about this. I want to show it, but it's like not really needed for the gameplay. And this is very interesting because that is the same thing that happens in real life. Companies are really not interested in the animals living there because uh, they don't give money. So what should I care about killing bears? Okay, so the only way that the companies worry about is when you tell them, well, okay, I'm going to give you a lot of money back if you take care of the environment here. Don't destroy these plants, these animals. And it's very nice because that's also reflected on us as players when we show, or I believe that game shows the true nature of some people. Okay, so it's very hypocritic to say, "Oh, I do care about animals." Okay, well, this is what is happening here. If you don't do this, animals will die. So how do you want to play the game? And I like that kind of stuff.
No, I like that too. So you mentioned that not everybody is necessarily on board with taking care of the environment. Is that something that you see reflected around you in Uruguay? Like, are there arguments about how the extent to which people should take care of the environment now, or does everybody just kind of agree with the WIN program now?
Well, the what happened with all the wind programs, basically around the world, is that we are in on the first stages of that, and the private investor, the companies that build those stuff, most of them are private. In other countries work different, but in most of the countries, those companies work for the government, but they have a leasing on the wind farm generation for about 40 years. So you said, okay, we have built 27 parks, 27 wind farms all over the country. Why still I have to pay my electricity at the same prices or higher than I was paying? Oh, because this is gonna go down in 40 years when this becomes governmental stuff. Now is from a private investor. So we have to pay these people for all the work they did. And so most people doesn't care because they don't know this. Okay, so they say, but why we did this? We pay the same. It's not a change in my life. So that is why. Okay, so I hope to see the price in the energy to go down in about 20 years. and then yeah, and then people will say, oh, this was nice. The other thing is that these things were not built to take care of the environment. That is very naive to think that, because they have built to make money. Okay, and to help the country, because okay, if you use a lot of your tax money to buy fossil fuel, to buy diesel from outside the country, you cannot use that money for better things. Okay, so but this was not done. Oh, we are polluting, so let's try to build some wind farm. That happened. Okay, countries don't think that way because that is not their actually their most important job. So I wanted that things reflected in the game, and I believe they are because many people have reacted that way, and I say yes, yes, that it is.
That's really interesting. So, given that you wanted to communicate so much about your country in the game, is there anything else that you really want people to notice when they play it? Because that was part of the design that you just want to see highlighted.
I think that most of things are there. We have Ian had made some minor art changes now to show some of the the country is divided into, I don't know the English name of this, like you have your states in USA. Okay,
Hmm.
we have something called departments. Okay, and they have capital cities. Okay, so we added that to the board because I wanted art there on the showing stuff from Uruguay, like I don't know, some monuments and some buildings, that kind of stuff. But the board got very crowded by the mid and end of the game with a lot of pieces and such, and the art was like more annoying and cumbersome than helpful. Okay, show you that, oh, here we have a guy on a horse that was the national hero, and then who cares about that? So uh, I believe that everything is there. It shows you that Uruguay exists, and if you care, you will at least check on the internet. Oh, what where is Uruguay? What is happening here? So I'm very happy. I'm very proud with how everything uh, is going with the game, is how everything end up being.
Fantastic. I personally cannot wait to see more of those solo cards and the expansion. So I've got stuff ahead that I'm excited about too.
Thank you.
All right, so just kind of to move into what maybe you're more famous for, you also do a lot of development for Vitalis Cerda.
Well, I started in 2015. I was unemployed at that point in my life. I'm still unemployed because I don't do nothing but designing game. And well, he was looking for players for Lisboa at that point on a BCC thread, and I signed up for that. And we make like instant friends because we are both of Latino blood, and we have the same temper. I always say that we kind of crazy and obsessed and very heated person, and we talk bad to each other, and at the next minute everything's okay because that is how we Latino peoples are. Um, and well, I started saying stuff very shy at the beginning, like, oh, this is Peter Lacerda, it's a designer that I admire. How I'm going to tell him that this thing is horrible? So uh, let's start very respectful with these things. And um, he was listening. He was really listening, and he was applying my ideas and using my ideas. So I started to think, well, maybe I know what I'm saying. Maybe this all these things in my head make sense. And well, that is how I started developing, and we became friends, and we spent a lot of time talking together about game. Not so much in the past years because I was working on Pampero. He was doing some developing in Pampero for me. It was his time, of course, to do it because I did it for so many years. And but I was very busy with my own game to be able to be so helpful for him. So I barely did anything for at the start of Weather Machine and nothing for inventions. I just check it out. And well, I have some ideas for doing um, another game together, but like I said, he's very busy with his games. I'm very busy with my games, so we haven't really hit it off uh, in the past years. But well, I've been there for Lisboa Escape Plan on Mars, CO2 Second Chance. We did Mercado de Lisboa together. I play tested some of the Bot Factory, um, and that was an amazing times. Very, very fun. Um, it's nice to find somebody else that you said a lot of crazy things and you throw a lot of ideas, and in the same moment that you're saying, you're realizing that, oh, this is really bad, and you say, oh, no, no, that doesn't work for this and for that, and you answer the other people, and it's a madman conversation. And that was very, very fun. And we got together at Essen last October. It was the first time that we met in person in 7 years of working together and be really close friends. And there was amazing nights, so much beer and so much laugh. It was incredible.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like, in a way, you'll have a partnership where you've developed for him, he's developed for you. How is it different when you are the lead on the project and he's doing the developing?
Well, the difference is that he says something and I say, I don't care. That, yeah, nah, nah. Yeah, well, when you develop for somebody else, you are trying to make the game better, and not to your liking, and not into your philosophy or your idea of design. You are working the game. Okay, you are trying to make that game better, whatever it works for that game. Okay, that sometimes are things that okay, this is not something that I will do in my game, or that I will like how this works or exactly how this turns up. But that is what you do. That is what you're trying to do when you develop a game for somebody else. I try to, okay, let's look what is the worst case scenario in this game. What happens if I don't have any of the things that I need to play the game? What can I do? And so, that way is how some of those ideas are in Vital games that came from me, because that is what I always do. And on the other hand, what is the best scenario? This. What if I have everything of these things? If I do this, will I win all the time? Okay, so let's try to solve these things. Like, okay, this is the, like we have a saying here with some friends that is apretar ganar in Spanish. That means push the win button. Okay, you push the win button, you win, no matter what. So that is what I do for other people's games. When I play test, I have play tested for a lot of guys around there, because I like to help people that is trying to uh, make their games into publishing. So I like to, okay, tell them, okay, this kind of thing work, this kind of thing doesn't work. The people like this thing, people don't like this, so don't go that way, because you will find resistance. No, it doesn't matter if you love this. Okay, 100,000 people will tell you, no, we don't love this, so don't do it. And that is the main difference. Like, okay, I want this works for your game, so I will help in this. And when you are working in your game, yes, that is exactly the other way around. This, I want to do the things that reflects me, and that reflects my idea of this. So uh, your comments are helpful. Okay, there are many things that always work in the designer's mind, but when you place the game on the table, it doesn't work, and and you don't see that until the game is played. But the main features of the game, all the things that align and that show something that you want to show. Uh, Sometimes people have that ideas, the developers, players, playtesters, whatever, and you can say no to that. And that is because yeah, that is a cool idea, but it doesn't match with the game.
So speaking of matching with the game, one thing I think is very interesting about Pampero, especially one of the reasons I really like it, is that it is a heavy Euro, and a lot of people talk about kind of heavy Euro games as more puzzly than thematic, but that's not true for Pampero. In Pampero, the mechanisms match very closely with reality, with the theme. And so how do you make that happen? And do you think it's different for a Euro game than it is for another type?
Well, I always think about that because some people have said the other thing. Okay, if you it's that suspension of disbelief that you have in movies or whatever fictional thing, that okay, you need to put something of you to believe that this is the theme of the game and that is how things really works. Okay, I like that things make sense. Okay, I'm not like the why is that just because. No, that I I don't care if the game is if the game is good, if the game is it's fun, whatever. I love Stefan Feld games. It's my Vital and Stefan Feld are my favorite designers in the world. And Stefan Feld game doesn't have a team. Okay, you can paste whatever thing you want on top of them, and the game will be amazing. It doesn't matter. And since they don't have a team, you don't have things that need to make sense into the team because they don't have one. So you can make whatever mechanic you like and just enjoy the game. Okay. So being that said, when I design a game, I like that everything fits into the team. So uh, when you are starting developing and having ideas and how this works, okay, you say, well, you build a wind farm. What does wind farm do? Okay, well, they generate energy. That is what they do. All right, so now you need to drive that energy around. What do you need to do? Well, you need all those electric towers that are already there, but you need to improve them because the old ones are not working right. This old technology, they can do better stuff, whatever. Okay, so let's build those electric towers, and we will get better technology, better knowledge of that. All right. So what? Now that we have that scene, we are driving this energy into the um, people's houses and business and factories, that kind of stuff, and we are getting paid for that. So that is the heart of Pampero. You build wind farm for energy, you build towers to drive that electricity, and then you get money for because they're paying you. Okay, let's see what else is there, and let's try to make that work. And well, that is how I try to into the researching. I try to fit that into the game, all of that stuff. And the more you research, the more things you find out that is happening out there, and that you can, okay, I can use this. I can use this. I can make this a game. Uh, I can use this into the game. And then there are also some stuff that you need to put into the game because it is a game. You are playing. You are not just replicating real life. So uh, let's try to make this fun, despite of what many people think. So that is how I try to fit the team in that. There is, like I said, there is a thread in BCG where I explain how everything in real life I reflected into the game, and well, I leave a lot of stuff out of that document because it's quite boring actually. So, but if yeah, and if people is interested, they answer and we have conversations and such. But I try to reflect a lot of stuff, and there is a lot more that is in the expansions and such that you can makes the game more game and also shows more stuff that is going on and we don't actually know because we don't see it.
That's interesting. And then just thinking about genre of game, do you design just the types of games that you most prefer to play? I mean, do you play much outside of Euros, or is that basically your gaming life and that's just what you prefer all the time?
Well, that is what I prefer all the time, yes. And yes, you have to design a game that you like to play because mainly you design for yourself. Okay, that is how it works. Okay, I designed this because I like to play this. If otherwise I don't know how it works for every designer. Okay, but for Vital and for me, for instance, that is the way. Okay, this is what I like to play. This is what I design, and you will find out that I believe that in many people, many designers, that okay, we don't play party games or okay, or we play sometimes with friends and while you're drinking and in between other games and that kind of stuff. But this is not the only thing I play. And for me, it's the same. I play lighter games with friends, and I play those Ameritrash called games, okay, with a lot of dice and randomness, which I I won't say that I hate, but I hate that. I don't like I don't like the random outcome of things. I don't like it. I try to keep it to a minimum, like because I always say if you are going to play a game that lasts 6 hours with having battles of all kinds, and by the end of the game, somebody's gonna uh, have a 6 on the die and win the game. Well, let's roll that die now and let's say that 6 hours to play really good games. Okay, but that is the way that I think and the games that I like. But yes, I do play stuff. I do play lighter stuff because um, good games, good ideas are everywhere, and you can enjoy that. But in those kind of game, I feel that I lack stuff like, oh, this is very nice, but I want to do more things. I want to have more, and I want to plan my turns 2 3 turns ahead because that it's not just resolving this now and wait to see what happens.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. I'm very happy to see that Pampero is going to have a nice solo mode, and that also you've worked on development of solo modes for other Lacerda games. Are you a solo gamer as well? And if so, what are some of your favorites?
No, I'm not a solo gamer. I do not play. I tend to not play solo except the games that I design. Um, I have an ability since I'm a little kid of seeing the heart of things, seeing, analyzing stuff and seeing, oh, this is a line. The line of thinking here is this line, and that is what is needed to design a solo game. Okay, what that line goes from the start to the end of the game, and that is how I uh, two things aligned for me to be a solo developer. One is that I was here in my house. The internet is very bad, so sometimes being in a table with more people makes me like that my connection goes off. So I'm delaying the game for everyone, and then I started to do some solo stuff for that, and that ability of seeing, okay, these games go from here to there, so we can make a solo uh, going through that the line of thinking. Well, since I was a kid, I have this ability of see the heart of things, analyzing things. We with my aunt we read uh, Agatha Christie's novels, so we analyze conversations, that kind of stuff, and that got stuck in my mind for forever. So when I see a game, I can see the steps that are needed to do the stuff and what is needed to be done in the game, and so that make that ability important in at the moment of designing solo games, especially in the way that Vital likes to design his solo game. That is, I want to show you how the game works. So if you have a solo that uh, do that, an automata that do that, you can learn how to play the game with that. That is how he preferred his solo. So I was able to do that. And as you have already experienced, my internet is very bad. So when we played in a four-player table, my connection went off so many times, and I was dragging the game for all the other people. So I said, okay, let me play the solo. Give me the solo, I will play solo, because if the game crashes, the only person there will be me. So let's do that. Okay, so then I started to working on solos more often than in the rest of the game. Once my connection was better, I developed for the multiplayer game, and that is how my solo experience grew up. Because I don't usually play solo games from other designers. I tested once, I see it one, and oh, I see what you did there. Okay, I like it or I don't like it, but I don't like to play solo. I like to play another humans.
You hurt me. No, I'm kidding.
No,
So
I can perfectly see the fun in playing solo, and I can see the challenge because that is what I do. So it's okay. I really understand, and I really enjoy when people is suffering with or enjoying at the same time, because that is something that Euro players do, suffer, enjoy suffering. So I really like that, but I'm not the guy that likes to play solo. I like to. We have a lot of fun around the table with friends, even if they are in the other side of the world. So I like more that social part in gaming that the just the gameplay.
fair enough. Fair enough. You now that you've designed Pampero, you are also
Yes.
at work on another design, and this one's about artificial intelligence. Would you like to tell us about your upcoming game?
Well, my game is about robots, like the ones you can see the Boston Dynamics people are developing, and I don't know, Tesla was doing something, and in the Asians, I don't know which factories. I really haven't paid attention. I just have seen them in the YouTube channels, like in China, that kind of stuff is doing a lot of development on robotics. So my game is about that, about how artificial intelligence is developing right now. We have amazing stuff already on the world, and who knows what is else is coming. So it's a combination of that. Let's use this artificial intelligence in robots to improve life or to save lives. So this game is about a factory that they are building robots for different fields, and as we all know, humans have failures. So the factory needs to be run by an artificial intelligence. So you are that artificial intelligence that you are trying to improve yourself to do machine learning to become the CEO of this robotic factory. That is what the game is about.
Oh, that's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of heated talk about AI and whether it's good or bad. Do you fundamentally see it as something that's exciting and good, and that's reflected in your game, or do you think it's a little scary?
Well, I have conversations with a lot of people, and some of those people are actually working with artificial intelligence, so they are more able than me to talk about these things. But there is a little bit of me that is worried about these things because they made these learning things. Okay, I don't think they will grow a conscience or something like that, but they may fall into this logic that, oh, for the world to be better, we need less humans, and especially these humans, which are, well, that the ones that are failing the most. So that is the thing that worries me, that Skynet stuff, because when they did this AlphaGo thing, they didn't even know how the AlphaGo was learning to do the thing it was doing. So that is the thing that said, this can go in a different direction that we think it going. So let's pay attention to this. Um, and we know that always the military is working in this kind of stuff, ahead of the civilian war, and they are not using artificial intelligence for nice things. So that also worries me that some of these things start to, I don't know, managing missiles and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I'm not trying to reflect that on the game. Just basically, okay, this is machine learning. Okay, you run like a software and you do stuff and you try to be better. And I'm not trying to show that, okay, this thing is gonna destroy the world. No, and it's not, because it's just a minor thinking, okay, that because we have seen so many sci-fi movies and such that.
So I have a question about
Yeah.
machine learning then. How do you create the feeling of machine learning for a person who is playing a game? And what are some of the ways that you're toying with that?
Oh well, you will need to see the game to see that. Yeah, but basically you have your artificial intelligence in your tableau. Your tableau represents your artificial intelligence, and the machine learning is by, okay, I'm putting this robot in the world, and this robot is sending me information about how it performs, so I can add that information into my program, into my software, and into the lines of my code, which is your Tableau. So you are doing a Tableau building that is based on the machine learning.
Oh, that's really interesting. So we never know exactly when games are going to come out, but do you have a
Yeah.
timeline for this one?
Well, we are working with the publisher, with Ape Games, with Kevin from Ape. We are working right now, like I said, in the Pampero rulebooks, and we are going to talk about these things after Pampero is going into print, and we can take out our minds of that process a little bit. So we have like a schedule in mind, like, okay, let's try to do this some months after Pampero is out in the street and people can relate to your name better and to your design. But we haven't established a date or anything yet. But I believe that early 2024 can be a nice time for starting to show the game, to promote the game. I don't know, but we need to talk about that because it is a long process, and the game is close to be finished. I need to work on the solo and adjust balance for two players. That is a little bit worrying me right now. And that, like I always say, you can make 95% of the game in 3 months and 5% in 2 years. So let's worry about that 5%. We The game is close to be finished, but close means 6 to 10 months. So that is what close means to me. So
Well,
I cannot say a date.
well, I'm excited about it whenever it comes out. And then
Thank
just
you.
sort of like softy questions as we come to the end here. One, what are you playing right now for fun that you're enjoying?
Well, this is very silly, but I'm playing a game on BCA in Board Game Arena that is Tic Tac Match or something like that. That is like a tic tac toe, but with some cars, and I'm having fun with that. And it's a game that, I don't know, it lasts between 1 and 5 minutes. So it's something that I do in between rulebook correction. Okay, I take out my mind of that and I play a few games of those, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. It's nice.
That sounds awesome. And then if people want to find you and track your designs and maybe ask you questions, where can you be found online?
Well, I have a channel in Vital Discord, okay, that says Julian Games, and I'm most of my time I'm there. I have my own Discord, which you can find the link to it in the my BCC profile page. Uh, I started using that Discord to speak Spanish, to play with the people of that speak Spanish, And then the channel got out of proportion, and a lot of people is joining, and we are having discussions, and I'm showing some of the progress in the games and such. So you can find me there. You can write me on BCC. I'm always keen to answer questions, and if people um, want to discuss the stuff, I'm open to it. I'm not much open to teach people or to show people strategies or stuff about the game, because I want them to find it on their own. Okay, so I don't. That is the only thing that I don't like to do. I just will tell you, well, yes, that works. That doesn't work. There is a way to make that thing works, but I don't like to tell people how to play the game, because you need to find that in your own. Other than that, I'm open to discussions about music, movies, books, politics, whatever.
Fantastic. And Julian, thank you so much for coming on. It's been wonderful to have you on the pod and lovely to meet you, even though it's over the internet. So thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you, thank you for
So
having
those
me. I enjoy it.
So for those of you who are out there, hopefully you know by now, I can be found anywhere online as Beyond Solitaire. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and most of all, happy gaming.